Okay, boys and girls, welcome to my backyard. We're talking about lesson 2.6 today. This is how a flip video will work for us. Just quick things that we need to remember before we can be able to add or subtract fractions. We talked about adding subtractions earlier. Here we're going to be most likely talking about subtracting of fractions. It's important to remember that when we add two negatives together that the signs are the same, so we just add them up. So this is a negative 13. When we look at the next one where the signs are different, because they are different, we subtract. So we just take this negative 20 and we subtract 20 minus 12 and we get the number of 8. This is like our good guys and bad guys. There are more bad guys, so my answer stays negative. When we subtract, the situation is exactly the same, except for we do our keep, change, change. So we keep the first number, change the minus sign to a plus sign, and change the 12 to a negative 12. Now, because we have those numbers, they're both the same using our addition rules, and we just add them up and keep the sign. Now, if we by chance get into a situation where there's two negatives right next to each other, like 9 minus a negative 11, a minus turns into a plus plus. So now we have 9 plus 11, which is, of course, 20. So again, those are just a quick review of what we need to know how to do to be able to add or subtract fractions. Here's your official lesson. Make sure you write down the information so that you know all of that good stuff. If you need to pause, hit pause. I'm going to keep flowing so that you have enough time to watch the video, but not so much time where the video is like 45 minutes long, like class would be. So unlike fractions, we all know they have unlike denominators. When you add fractions, you must find a common denominator. In the example we have here, already done the work for you. We have 5 and 4. The smallest number in both lists of the multiples is a 20, which means we need to rename our fractions with a 20, and then you can add or subtract them. So let's get started with some real examples. Common denominator between a 4 and a 3 would be a 12. So you multiply the 4 by a 3, the top number by a 3 because math is fair, and we rename our fraction. Keep the plus sign. 3 has to be multiplied by a 4, which means 2 also has to be multiplied by a 4, so my new numerator is an 8. And because when we add fractions, we just add the part, which is the top, we get 11 twelfths. There's nothing that we can divide out of an 11 and a 12, so it just stays 11 twelfths, and we circle it. On 10 and 8 for our denominator, the smallest number that's in both of those lists, if we were to take the time to make the list, is a 40. So I know that 10 has to be multiplied by a 4 to make a 40, which means the top also has to be multiplied by a 4. This makes my new numerator of a 12. The 8 must be multiplied by a 5 in order for it to turn into a 40. So my numerator has to be multiplied by that same 5. So we get our answer of a 25 for our new numerator. Now we can add our tops, and we get 37 40ths. And I always double check, can 37 and a 40, is there a number we can divide out of both of them? The answer is no. Now this problem is a little bit unfortunate because they're big numbers. Now I am a super smart person. I brought my calculator on my cell phone with me. I'm going to quickly do the math. Don't tell anyone. Let's see. I believe 96 times 4, 384 would be the exact same thing, and I'm pretty sure of this. 384, so that was times 4. And it's negative minus another negative, and 128 times 3, yep, 384. Good, so I've done a little bit of logical thinking, so I multiplied that one by 3. So my new numerator will be a 45 on the right fraction, and on the left fraction it will be a 28. Now I have a negative 28 minus a negative 45. Keep, change, change. So now I have a negative 28 and a positive 45. Signs are different, so I'm going to subtract. When I subtract, I got to borrow and all that cute stuff. So I get 17 384ths. Now that is one gross number. I'm going to double check one last thing to make sure that 384 can't be divided by a 17, so that I know that I can't reduce. And I know for sure that is the correct answer. Now when we deal with mixed numbers, you just go ahead and we kind of separate the whole numbers from the fractions. So I'm trying to add together a 1/8 and a 5/12. So 1/8 and 5/12, common denominator will be 24. Hey Lexi. How are you? Yeah. So I'm outside with my dog, sorry. So we multiplied both the top and the bottom by a 3, and we get 3/12. So we have a negative 4 and 3/12. And on the other fraction we have a positive 2, and so we multiplied by 2 and 10/24. The signs are different, so we're going to subtract. So we have 4 and 3/4 minus 3/24 minus 2 and 10/24. Now if you remember way back when last year, 3 minus 10, we can't do it, so we have to borrow from the 4. The 4 turns into a 3, and 24/24, because 3 and 24/24 is still a 4, so we just renamed it. We add these two together and we get 27/24 minus 10/24. So 27 minus 10 is 17. I'm going to need a little bit more space here. So now I have 17/24, and 3 minus 2 is 1. The larger number was negative, so my answer is negative. Now that is one way we could have done this. The other way would be to change both fractions or mixed numbers into improper fractions. And then you would still use our same rules as before. Now while I change screens, I'm going to get a drink of my chocolate milk. I love chocolate milk. Alright, so same rules apply here. So we're trying to keep things in simplest form. Common denominator will be a 15 between a 5 and a 3. Ooh, that was kind of goofy. Let's redo that one. Minus a negative 15. So times 3 times 5. So I get a 6 minus a negative 10. Keep change, turns this into a 16 over 15, and 16 over 15, 15 can go into 16 one time with one of the 15 left over. This is my most simplified answer. Let's go a new color. 1 second, I think my dog's gonna run away. Lexi! Hey, Lexi! I think she ran away. That'll happen from time to time. Alright, so we're looking for common denominators between 11 and a 44. Oh, hey Lexi. She came back. And the bottom numbers are going to be a 44. That's pretty sweet, because times 4, and we get 4 plus 3 equals 7/44. Nothing can be divided out of a 7 and 44, so we keep it the way it is. You guys understanding this whole process? So let's keep it going. Common denominator, 12. Times 3 got us to a 12. That's a 3. Times 3 got us to a 12, so my new top number is a 3. And this fraction was already a 12, so it stays exactly the way it was. 3 minus 7 equals a negative 4/12. Both 4 and 12 can be divided by a 4. And we get a negative 1/3 for our official answer. Folks, that's what we have for today. Good luck. We will see you when I return from DC.